Good evening, everyone. This is Robert Jamieson. Welcome to our online lesson for tonight. It's a miserable, cold, wet Melbourne evening, so ideal weather for chess. Tonight I'm on my lonesome in the chess shop. I don't have a guest student with me, so what I'm planning to do is to unmute you guys over the course of the lesson and give you all a bit of a go at helping me through the positions we're going to look at. Okay. Now, last weekend was quite an exciting weekend. We had the Victorian Open Chess Championships at Box Hill that I went along and had a sticky beak at. So I've got a couple of positions from that to have a look at, as well as a few bishop endings as a warm-up for our chess endgame camp coming up at the start of July at Phillip Island. Okay, so I need a volunteer to help me with the first one. Who will we get? Oliver. Are you there, Oliver?
Yep.
How are you tonight?
Good.
All right. Now, our first position up there on the board. So I asked you to come up with two candidate moves. Were you able to find two moves?
I actually found two for white and one for black after the first move white did.
All right. What are your two preferred white moves?
My first one is queen to f3.
All right. Now, why do you like? So you're thinking the rook.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What was the second one you liked?
The second one after that one, rook d7, and then you would go to queen c3. Then you've got a good open file.
Okay. All right. And so the second candidate move you wanted to look at?
Was queen c3 after after being played.
No, sorry. Queen f3 is the first move. Now I need you to find me an alternative first move to queen f3. Did you come up with a second move?
No. Maybe
okay.
Queen g5 or something.
Okay. All right. Now, do you know what a candidate move is?
No.
Yeah, because a couple of you guys asked me what that was. So let me explain. So it's your turn to move. So what we do is we say, what is he threatening? And in this position, black doesn't seem to be threatening anything. All right. So then we have to think up our move. Now, a lot of young players just find a move that appeals to them, their hand reaches out, and they make it think that looks okay, I'll do that. What we should be doing is looking around and saying, all right, now what are my possible moves that I might think about? So in this position, you said, I like queen f3. Some other people have said, I like knight a5, attacking the bishop. Some have said knight d4, attacking the e-pawn. Someone said c3, I think. So what we do is we look around, find the moves we like, and then we analyse them each and work out which one's the best one. And that way we haven't sort of missed any moves because we've looked at all these different candidates. Okay. Now, someone's also come up with h3. Now basically, if he's not threatening anything, there's two things we can do. So one thing is we can look around for something to attack. So knight a5 would suit that, knight d4 would suit that. Then the second thing we could do, instead of attacking, we can say, okay, how can I just improve my position a little bit? What could I do to make it a little bit better? So maybe h3 would be a good move, so we don't get a back rank checkmate. I quite like c3, because that means that pawn's protected, and it's going to support our knight going to d4. Okay. All right, so I'll give you a choice of two moves. Now, I must just explain what this game is first, I suppose. White was a guy called Sylvester Urban, who's about 2,000 rating, so he's quite a good player. But black is Dusan Stojic, who's about 2250, 2300 or something. So black's the higher rated player, but we've got a pretty even position here. So Oliver, I'll give you a choice. Which would you prefer? Would you prefer c3, the slightly improving move, or would you prefer knight d4, the attacking move?
I probably prefer c3.
Okay, all right. I agree. I prefer c3, but in the game, white played knight d4. All right, thanks, Oliver. I'll move on and give someone else a go. Okay, let's try Nathaniel. You there, Nathaniel?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I need you to help me with the next move for black. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that good players, they try and beat their opponent by finding a move that the other guy doesn't look at. They look at more candidate moves than probably a player who's not quite so high rated. So you can be black here. White's just played knight d4. So now he's attacking your e-pawn. So I'd like you to come up with 2 moves that you might think about for black. And the rest of you guys type in on the questions what 2 moves you would consider as candidate moves for black.
I would probably think of, I might think of bishop c8.
Hang on, wait. Well, hang on, wait a minute. So we've said white has a threat. He's threatening to take our pawn on e6. So your candidate moves either need to do something about that or to do a counter-attacking type move. So if you just went bishop a8, he could just take your pawn for nothing maybe.
Oh no, I was thinking c8.
Bishop c8. Oh, okay, c8. All right, well, bishop c8, that defends the pawn. All right, so that's one candidate move. Now I need a second one.
I was thinking that queen c8 also to attack the pawn on c2 and also protect the pawn.
All right, so you've come up with one defensive move and one move which both defends and attacks. Okay, let's see what the other guys are coming up with. Daniel likes queen f7, Brijesh likes queen c8, Thomas likes queen c5 or queen c8, Sam wants to go all the way over queen a8 to line up with the bishop. Daniel likes queen e7, Daniel R's, Daniel Pob likes queen d8, Oliver likes queen c5. All right, so any of those moves appeal to you more, or you still want to look at queen c8 or d8?
I'm still kind of going for queen c8, but I'm kind of wondering about queen a8 because it does look...
All right, now we need to make a choice. So what would you choose as your best move?
Queen c8 probably.
Queen c8, okay. That's not a bad move. I'd be looking at queen e7, looks like not a bad move either, because it's important that if our bishop's on the white squares, our queen covers the black squares, because we haven't got a black square bishop anymore.
Yeah.
But the move he actually played, some of you have come up with it. We've got Joey and Oliver and Thomas. He decided not to defend, he decided to attack. So he played queen c5. Now this is interesting because now he's attacking the c-pawn and he's got a double attack on the e-pawn, but if we want, he's let white take the e-pawn there. So this is a little bit complicated. We'll have to see how we go. So I'll try someone else. So thank you, Nathaniel, for your help there. All right, let's go on to Max. Hello, Max. Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Harry.
Yes.
Max,
Hi.
are you there?
Max, come on.
Are you there, Max? Talk to me.
Hi.
Hi. Can you get a bit closer to the mic? You're very hard to hear, Max.
Hi.
Hi. All right. Now you're white. Black's just played the aggressive queen c5, attacking your knight and your e-pawn. So I want you to give me a couple of candidate moves that you might think about. And the rest of you guys, off you go. See if you can beat Max to find some good candidate moves. Type in what 2 moves you'd like. What do you think, Max? Anything appealing?
Knight takes a6 maybe.
All right, knight takes e6 is the obvious one, winning a pawn and attacking the queen. Now give me a second one. We don't just look at one move.
No.
Any other moves that might do the trick?
Knight b3.
Knight b3 attacking the queen. All right, let's see what everyone else has come up with. Brijesh likes c3. Daniel likes knight f3. Callum queen d2, which doesn't look very good because your knight's attacked. I forgot to mention that. Daniel likes knight e6.
Harry probably take
Joey
any.
likes rook d1. Any of them appeal, or you want to decide between your knight d3 and your knight e6, Mac? What do you think?
Probably knight a6.
Knight e6. All right. Thank you very much. Now before we go, so let's just do knight e6. That was the move he actually played. Did you ask yourself what's he going to reply? Or do you just say, I may as well take that pawn?
I asked myself what's he gonna reply.
All right. So you've looked at a couple of replies for black, have you?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well done. Thank you, Max. I'll move on and give someone else a go. Okay. Let's try Oscar. Hello, Oscar. Are you there, Oscar? Talk to me. Nope. All right. We'll try Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Right, your go. So you could be black. Help me for black. So he's just played knight e6, and he's attacking our queen on c5. So I want you to give me 2 candidate moves that you might think of for black. Everyone else start typing now. Candidate moves for black. Anything that stick out or appeal to you, Sam?
I would usually take the pawn on c2 and then try to open up my rook, maybe attack the queen to get an attack on the king or on g2.
Yep. Okay. All right, so queen takes c2, so that's one move. Now I want a second one, because I don't want you to just look at one move, I want you to look at 2 moves. So what other candidate move would you like to look at? Your queen's attacked, so it's probably got to be a queen move.
I might take my queen back to e7 just to put pressure on the e-pawn when his knight moves away.
Okay. All right, so your 2 moves. So we've got queen takes c2, winning that pawn, getting the pawn back, or queen e7, and if he moves his knight, you can probably take the e-pawn and get your pawn back that way. They both look pretty reasonable. Now let's see what everyone else has come up with. Joey likes queen c6 or queen c2. Thomas likes queen b6. Derek queen c6. Nathaniel queen c2 and queen e7. Daniel queen c2. Queen c2 is probably the most popular one. All right, so it has to come down to a final choice now, Sam. Which one would you choose?
I would probably choose c2, then to open up my bishop and get a checkmate on g2 maybe.
Okay, all right. Now, queen c2. Have you asked yourself what is he going to reply, or you just looked at what you're doing?
I asked myself what he was going to reply, and I think he'd probably reply with rook c1.
Okay.
And then I might put my rook
On d1.
or maybe move my queen out of... Oh no, he wouldn't do that because he just loses another pawn.
What he can do, he could maybe play queen h6,
Yeah.
threatening checkmate on g7 and f8. So he's got a fairly strong attack there as well.
But then we could just... Then I could just play d7, which also threatens a checkmate. It blocks a checkmate and threatens a checkmate.
What do you want to play? Rook d...
So, rook d7. Rook d7.
But you've only defended one checkmate. I've still got queen f8 checkmate. I'm threatening the 2 of them.
Oh.
So it's a bit hard. You might have to run with the king. All right, so queen c2 is risky. Now, the move that the player actually came up with is a pretty good move, and some of you have got it. I'm pretty impressed here. I showed it to my student Gary Lynn, and he wasn't able to find it earlier today. The move he played, queen c6. Right, now this is the pawn down, but he's attacking the knight, and you'll notice the bishop and the queen are now lined up for a possible checkmate if he can just get his rook out of the way.
And you can play down to d1.
And he can do all sorts of exciting stuff. All right, so white to play. Now white's move's more or less forced if he wants to save the knight. So he plays knight g5. All right, I'll give someone else a go. Thanks, Sam. Okay, let's try Thomas. You there, Thomas?
Hello?
Yep, hi. All right, you can help me for black now. So white's just played knight g5. So I want you to come up with 2 candidate moves for black. And everyone else, start going now. What move would you like black to play here?
Rook d4 probably.
All right, so you've got rook d4, so that's 1 move. Now I want you to come up with a second move, just in case there's something better.
Rook catches e5 maybe.
All right, rook takes e5, so both of them look pretty good. So that's rook d4, trying to lure the queen away and get a checkmate on g2, or rook takes e5, threatening a checkmate and getting our pawn back. Now let's see what some of the guys are putting. Benji's got rook d2, Bridgesh got rook d1, Sam rook d1, Joey rook d2, Nathaniel rook d4, Daniel Pob rook d5, which is already there, so that's silly. Derek likes rook d1, Callum likes rook d3. All right, so any of them want to make you change your mind, or you want to stick with one of your 2 moves?
I'll probably stick with mine.
All right, now the best move, which is the move the guy played, is a spectacular move, rook d1. So congratulations to Nathaniel and Derek and Bridgesh and Joey and Sam, who all got that. So now, white's under a lot of pressure because the queen is threatening a checkmate, and we've got the rook under pressure here on the back rank as well. So we need to find a defence for white.
What about queen f3?
I'll do something else to go. Thanks, Thomas. Let's go back up to the top. Let's try Daniel. Are you there, Daniel?
Yes.
Yes, hi. All right, can you help me now? White's in a bit of trouble. He's threatened with a checkmate in 1. So can you find me a defence? Everyone else start typing defence. What do you think?
Queen g3.
All right, queen g3, that's 1 move. Can you find me another defence? You've got to remember your rook on f1 has to be covered as well.
If the rook goes to g1, queen takes on g2.
Yeah, so that one's no good. Any other defence you can think of?
No, queen f2.
Queen to f2, yeah, all right, so let's have a look. So, oh, hang on, I'll just get rid of the arrows. Right, so queen g3 is no good because we just take our rook with checkmate. Queen f3 is not much chop because he would take our queen, we have to take back with a pawn, and then he's a rook up. So that's not the greatest. Rook g1 is not much chop because we've just got queen g2 mate. All right, so the only way out of it is queen f2. All right, now I want everyone to put their thinking caps on. Black to play. What would you play for black? You have a think, Daniel. Don't tell me your move yet. We'll see what the other guys come up with. Black to play. Anyone see a good move for black? Derek's looking at queen c2. Oliver's looking at rook f1. Nathaniel's found a good move. Joey's found a good move. Sam's looking at rook d2, which seems to lose a rook. Bridgesh has found a good move. Well done, Bridgesh. Derek's found it. All right, Daniel, can you find a really good move for black? Look at all checks and captures. What I say when you're in tactical positions.
Rook d2.
No, rook d2. You just take the rook and then we can't get a checkmate on g2 because it's defended. All right, the killer move that some of you have found, well done. Black has the brilliant move, queen g2 check. The queen has to take the queen, And you can see what black can do now, Daniel.
Rook takes rook.
Rook takes rook, and the queen is pinned, so it's checkmate. Oh, so that was a really cool finish. Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. Right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that game. I thought it was a really exciting finish to one of the top games in the tournament last weekend. But the way I did it with the candidate moves and forcing you to find more than one move, I hope that demonstrates to you that you need to look around, find 2 or 3 different candidate moves, and the good players will find tricky moves, like the black player found that queen c6, and then the rook d1, and then the queen g2. So he found 3 really good moves in a row. All right, let's move on now. Okay, now we're going to have a look at some bishop endings. So that's okay. And the way to win, of course, is to get one of our pawns through to become a queen. So it looks like white's doing best because he's got 2 really advanced pawns, and black hasn't got his passed pawns going very far as yet. Can you all hear me? I'm getting a message from Joey saying he can't hear me. Oh, all right, cool. Okay, so in bishop endings, what we need to do more so than just analyse is to work out a plan, a winning plan. I think I've got Daniel online now. Are you there, Daniel?
Yep.
Oh, excellent. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, I can hear you loud and clear. So I want you guys to think of a winning plan for white. You've been thinking hard on this one, Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you 10 or 15 seconds to double check, and then we'll see what we can come up with. Some of you guys are typing in good move. In fact, everyone's typing in which is a good move. All right, Daniel, have you come up with a plan?
Yeah.
All right, what is your plan?
I want to trade off the bishops and get a passed pawn to the end.
So you're going to swap off the bishop, and then your A pawn is going to get through to queen.
Yeah.
All right. How are you going to swap off bishop?
Right to force it for the bishop or pawn.
So what's your first move going to be?
Bishop c5.
All right. Now, what do you expect to do? So you're looking at bishop c5. What do you expect to do?
Bishop b7, b8.
Bishop b8, and how are you going to win that?
Push the pawn and get the other pawn to the end.
Okay, so he'll have to sacrifice his bishop. You'll be up bishop to pawn and in the game to protect your other pawn. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's have a look. So people, if you understand Daniel's plan, he's looking at bishop going to b8, then he's going to push the pawn in the bishop, and he's going to hang on to and with his last pawn, which is going to get through to a queen. Right. Is this a good plan or a bad plan? I need you to type on the question, good or bad? And we'll see if we agree with Daniel's plan. Callum's saying good, Daniel's saying bad. Bridget's saying bad. So we're tied 2-all at the moment. Justin's saying bad. Nathaniel says it's pretty good. Sam says it's bad. Oliver says it's great. We're still pretty tied up. All right. Let me just check. It's Daniel who said it's bad. I'll be back in a minute, Daniel. Daniel, you say it's bad. What's bad about it? You're saying Daniel's plan A7 is bad.
I'll end up in a draw.
Is that a draw? Why is that a draw? Because we've still got 1 pawn left to make a queen, and we're a bishop for a pawn up.
Yeah, and then the bishop will take the pawn when it reaches the end.
So we're going to go takes. Now, can Daniel pop win that, or is that a draw?
The king takes the white pawn.
But we can protect it. So if the king goes over, we just protect it with our bishop, don't we?
Yeah.
So do you reckon that's going to be a win or a draw?
Not sure.
Not sure. Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll move on. Let's see. Sam says it's going to be a draw. Hello, Sam. Sam, are you there?
Yes.
Now, you said this is going to be a draw. So what's happening? H7, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop. How's Black going to draw that one?
Because when Black will eventually come around and White will eat the pawn, and then it will be a stalemate because White will just move into the corner, or it'll be 50 moves because of
So where's Black's king going to go?
if the king does go up to F5, which I would do because it'll probably be stalemate.
Yep. And the bishop
And if they
protects.
come in, you
Yep.
keep coming
Where do you go now for Black?
to G6.
Okay, so I'm protected by pawn. You can't win my pawn.
Yes,
So
and
how are you going to get a draw?
when the king comes across, the king won't be able to get your pawn, so it'll eventually be a stalemate.
So you're going to hide your king on H8, are you?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Sam. All right, let's go back to Daniel. Daniel, has he convinced you that you reckon you're winning?
I think it's a bit risky, but I'm not sure if it's a win or a draw.
All right. Okay. Now, things, you guys need to know in game theory which positions are drawn and which positions won. And in this position, have a look at the square where White's going to get a queen. What colour is that square, Daniel?
White's going to get a queen on the other side.
White's going to get a queen.
On H8.
Oh, sorry. I'm back to front. Sorry. I'll get rid of that. Yeah, sorry, he's getting a queen on H8. All right. So where's Black going to put it? Any idea?
Pardon, I didn't hear you.
Where's Black going to put his king?
On H8 or G8?
Yes. So Black's going to run his king. Hang on. I'm going to give you these silly colours. Right. Okay. Black's going to run his king up here. Let's say we put our bishop here. And the other pawn's gone. Now, we can't get him out of the corner. We can go up here. That's a stalemate. Or he just keeps going backwards and forwards. So he can in fact get a draw. So that's a really sneaky stalemate. Alright, so let's go back to the start. We needed a winning plan. You went bishop there. He went bishop b8. And a7 doesn't seem to win. So Daniel, put your thinking
Yeah,
cap on.
bishop D.
Right. What other plan could we have that might be? Some people are suggesting bishop D. Any ideas, Daniel? A couple of guys have come up with it. Nathaniel's come up with it. Bridget's
Bishop
come up with it.
D6.
Sorry, where?
Bishop D6.
Bishop D6. We could go bishop D6, but he'd just go back again. Okay, so we need another plan. Joey's found it. Sam wants to go king B4.
Oh, I'm not good at this.
How are you going to... Well, right, you need to queen the pawn, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, but the bishop is locked.
Yeah.
So the winning plan is to get that bishop out of B8. So how can we force that bishop out of B8?
Put your king on B7 and then...
Yep. So how does that get to B7?
You do bishop... it goes... Bishop...
Where?
To C6... B6?
Yes, correct. Bishop B6. Black can make a move, say there or something. And now white marches up. And poor old black can't do anything. We go to B7. We win.
Yay!
Yay! Well done. Right, got it on the second attempt. Thank you very much, Daniel. All right. That was hard work. Okay. So, again, going back to the original position, we had to realise that our winning plan was not to win the bishop for the pawn, but to get our king into B7. And we do that by sort of looking at the big picture, working out where does our king have to be, that sort of thing, rather than analysing moves. All right, let's move on to the second one. Okay, now who can help me with this one? Let's try Callum. You there, Callum?
Yep.
Hi. Right, you can help me in this one. Now this one is actually Ari Dale playing white. Ari had a really good tournament and he tied for first with 3 other guys. And how do you reckon he's going in this position?
Good.
All right. Why is he going well? Get close to the microphone. Tell me the answer. Why is he going well? What's he got that's an advantage?
He's tied Black's king onto the second on the A reg.
Yeah, but he's got an extra supported passed pawn. That pawn on D5. So that's really good. So he's a pawn up. All right. What else has he got that's really good? Have a look at the pawns.
He's got a pass pawn.
Yeah, we just did that. He's got the passed pawn on D5. Now, when you've got a dark squared bishop, what colour do you want your pawns on?
White.
Yeah, so he's got all his pawns on white. So that means that A, the other guy's bishop can't take them, and B, they're sort of covering the white squares to complement our bishop covering the dark squares. So when you guys are in bishop endings, try and put your pawns on the opposite colour to your bishop. So he's going really well in that sense. Now, the only problem is his opponent set up a blockade. So Ari would like to invade with his king and get in here, but the other guy's king is opposing it, and he's covering these squares, so Ari can't advance there. So we need a plan how Ari can win. All right, guys, so put your thinking cap on. This might take a little bit of typing, so it's not... I need the first move and then the plan. So have a think how white can perhaps get a win in this position. So type in the first move on the plan. So you have a think, Callum. We'll give everyone 10 or 15 seconds to have a look. Some guys are going bishop d8. Some guys are going bishop c3. In fact, most guys are going bishop d8. Very popular so far. And Bridges reckons that wins the f pawn. Nathaniel reckons bishop d8 will lift the blockade. Joey likes bishop c3 to attack the f6 pawn and to cover a5. All right. Can you see a plan, Callum? What appeals to you?
Bishop d8.
Okay. Well, there's sort of been repeating positions. So it's been like bishop d8, but then black goes bishop e5. So then maybe white attacks the c pawn and the king comes across. And they've been moving around in circles. So poor old Ari, he's got what looks like a winning position, but he doesn't know what to do. In fact, what he did is he wandered around for about 20 or 25 moves and eventually stumbled across a winning plan. Whereas here, if he'd sit down, think, look at the position, work out what the weaknesses of the other guy's camp are, he could have worked out an easy winning plan here. Derek wants to play bishop e1 and then attack the pawn on f6 via h4. Joey says bishop c3 will free up the king. So any further ideas, Callum? I think bishop d8 didn't seem to work?
No.
No, okay. All right. Well, let me give you guys some hints. When we have an advantage, what we try to do is tie our opponent down to the defence. If he's trying to set up a blockade, we try and attack all his weaknesses, so he has to defend them, and then maybe we'll try and get him like in a Zugzwang, where he's got to make a move that undefends something. He's got to go backwards, and that lets us in. So in this position, can you show me a move, Callum, that ties down his piece to the defence and also keeps his king out? What would be a really good first move?
Bishop c3.
Yes, very good. So bishop's much better on c3 because that means we're covering the a5 square so his king can't get in if our king wants to go walk about. And also his bishop's got to defend that f6 pawn. Alright, so he replies bishop e7. So we've got him tied down, but it's our move. So come on guys, see if you can help Callum. What's the plan? How can we improve our position or attack his weaknesses, make him retreat and not defend some of his weaknesses? Daniel's suggesting d6. Thomas is suggesting d6. Derek's suggesting d6. Bridges wants to give up his bishop for a pawn by bishop takes f6. Any ideas, Callum?
No.
Alright, so let's have a look. So we need to find a weakness. So at the moment, he's got a weak pawn on f6, but he's got that covered. He's got a weak pawn on c5. He's got that covered. So where is there a weakness that he hasn't got covered?
He hasn't got h5 covered.
He hasn't got h5 covered. Okay, now, can we attack h5?
Nope.
You sure? We can't attack it with a bishop.
We can get our king over to attack it.
What a clever idea. So let's have a look. Let's go king b3. Alright, and his king's going to come over too. So off we go. So we're running across to try and attack his weakness. We attack it. Oh, but he's got there just in time to defend it. Alright. What can we do now?
We could check it. Check him.
Yeah, we just give him a check. He's got to go back, and we take the free pawn. So we've got two pass pawns now, and it's an easy win. So let's go back to the beginning. So see how easy that was? We just worked out the plan. We put our bishop on a really good square, tied him down, and worked out the winning plan. Whereas instead of that,
Yeah.
Ari just moved around in circles. What did he do? He went bishop d2, bishop back, he went up here, he went there, he went up there, he went there, he went there. So he just kept on going around like a headless chook. So, that's a good lesson for you guys. Even someone as strong as Ari Dale, if he doesn't come up with a plan, doesn't necessarily end up finding the correct winning method. So in the ending, we need to find a plan. Okay, so that was a good one. So thank you, Callum. Right, let's move on then. Oops, hang on, I'm going the wrong way. Oops. Oh, oh, sorry guys, I keep pressing the wrong button. All right, here we go. Eventually got there. All right, this is our third one. Now, who can help me with this one? Is Joey there? You there, Joey?
Yeah, hello.
Hello? All right, you can start helping me with this one. So who do you reckon's winning this position?
White.
Why do you reckon White's winning the position?
They have an extra pawn, and their king's more in the centre.
No, it's 6 pawns each.
Is it? Oh.
Yep, 3, 6, 3, 6,
Yeah.
yep. So why do you reckon White's winning? His king's more in the centre, yeah.
They've got a strong pawn chain.
And what colour are the pawns on?
White, opposite colour of the bishop.
Yes. So he's got his pawns in the ideal spot opposite colour to his bishop, whereas black, his silly bishop on d6 is just like a big pawn. It's a waste of a bishop. All right, but the question is, how do we win? All right, so I'll get you guys started. So what would be a pretty obvious first move, Joey? What would be a good move for White here?
King f3.
All right, and what are we trying to attack? Can you tell me what his weakness is?
The e5 pawn.
Yeah, the e5 pawn. It's only defended by that bishop and it's on a black square, so we're going to try and gang up on that. All right, so let's say he moves his king out. What do you want to do now?
King a4.
All right, so we're attacking it once. He plays king f6. Now he's got it covered twice, and we can only attack it twice, so it looks like it's defended. He's set up a blockade. So what can we do? All right, guys, type in on the question. What do you think would be a plan for White? How can White break the blockade again? I'll give you another couple of moves just to make it a bit easier. So let's say we move our pawn up to g4 to put another pawn on the white square, and he blocks us with g5. So it's looking really, really blocked. Okay, put your thinking cap on. How can we improve our position and break the blockade? You're thinking hard, Joey?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give everyone 10 or 15 seconds to see if they can come up with an answer. Some of the guys are going h4, some are going bishop f2, most of them are going h4. You think h4 is a good plan, Joey?
Yeah.
How does that break the blockade? What if he just sits tight? Moves his king to g back again.
You can take g5 with the pawn.
Yeah. And then he takes us back. He's still got a blockade. How are we going to get through? We can attack his e-pawn twice, but he's got it defended twice.
You could try and... I'm not sure.
All right, well, let's build up and see what happens. So first off, we need to get our bishop to attack that weak e-pawn, don't we? So we'll move our bishop. His king wanders to the side. We move our bishop again, so we're attacking the pawn. He wanders back. Okay, so we've got our pieces in the ideal spots, but he's got everything defended. We can't get through. So is it a draw, or can one of you guys come up with a clever way for white to get a breakthrough? Joey says zugzwang, but I need a move. Joey and Daniel are agreeing on a move. Not sure whether it breaks through or not. Anyone else got any ideas? Bridges wants to take on e5, which would lose a bishop for a pawn. Probably not very good. Bridges likes h4, but black just sits tight. King f3 from Nathaniel is going backwards. Any idea, Joey?
I thought bishop h2, so the king
Right.
has to move off defense.
All right, bishop h2. So now if his king moves, we get the pawn, but he just moves the bishop. So it's still all covered. Does that help us? What can we do now? Or we're just going to go back to g3 and he'll go back to d6 and we'll have a repetition. Come on, guys. Anyone got an idea here? It's looking pretty drawn, but she can find a brilliant way to get through. Bridges has come up with an idea. Daniel's come up with an idea. Come on, Joey, can you see anything? Derek's trying a4, which loses. This is a en passant. Nathaniel's going bishop g1, but he just goes back to d6. So you want to get, so which piece are you going to break through with, Joey? You're going to break through with the bishop or the king?
The king.
Okay, but the king is blocked by the other king and by its own pawn, so it can't get in.
So d6.
Yes. So we play d6, sacrifice a pawn. Now the bishop has to take. Now we get in. We're attacking the bishop, and he's got two pawns to defend. So what does he do? Let's say he goes to c7. We take the pawn. So we've got our pawn back, and our king's broken through. And he can't play e4 because our bishop's going to take the bishop. Maybe he protects his b4 pawn. We can go up, attack him. Run away. We go back. Now we've got a double attack on the e-pawn. He moves it forward. We cover it. And black can't do anything. We just wander back. And then next move we take the pawn. So we win. All because we worked out the right plan, which was to sort of get him in zugzwang so his bishop had to move. And then we play d6 and we have the breakthrough. So well done. Quite a few of you got that. Daniel and Bridgesh and Sam and one or two others. So I hope that was interesting for you, doing a little bit on endgame, something different, and get you in top form for our endgame camp if some of you are coming along on that. And thank you everyone, including Joey, for helping me with tonight's lesson. I think we have one more lesson next week before the end of term perhaps, so I look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. Thank you and good night.
The